Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Effed Up Stories. I am your host, Will Pender.
And I'm your co-host, Ryan Sharp.
And tonight we have a guest, something we haven't had for a long time. Her name is Kairi, and she's going to be telling a story involving a stalker, but not just a stalker. It has paranormal elements to it. And in fact, it's quite a bit creepy. And stalkers are something that I can relate to very well. So yeah, we're going to be jumping into that. And of course, if you have a effed up story of your own and you'd like to get it onto the website and into a podcast, you can do that by going to the official site, effedupstories.com. That's EFFEDUPSTORIES.com. Go to the menu, submissions, fill out the form, hit it, and I'll get it on the website and eventually into a podcast. And our big reveal, by the way, folks, is next week, so make sure you tune in for that. I think the big reveal, I think, Ryan, we're going to put that into the, the Reptilian podcast, right?
Sure.
We've been teasing you guys with that forever, so we're finally going to hit that out there, and that's where I'm going to have my big reveal. So with that said, welcome Kairi to the show.
Hello.
Okay, so Kairi, now I've heard this, or I should say I've read this story when you initially sent it to me, but there's a lot to it. So what I want to do is start at the very beginning. How did this start? How did this even begin?
Okay, so I was in this band, my best friend Carolyn's band, boyfriend's band, and I was a lead vocalist, and this guy on Facebook happened to see the band practice videos I had made and put on Facebook, and he told me that he was like in this band called like Angels Must Die, and let me mention that I had me and my mom Googled it, and there was nothing on it, and he said that like they were playing Warped Tour and going on tour and like for the like whole Warped Tour thing, and that we were like supposedly getting signed by Roadrunner Records, and it was all bullshit. Just to like, he said he was coming down to Boston, where I live, and basically meeting me and like showing me the contract for this. And the story that he like made about this like contract kept changing. Like first it was supposed to be he was coming here to like show me it, or like a copy of it, and then it turned into him wanting to come here and then take me to New York, where apparently this had taken place, like the contract with the people, but I never got a like place that he never told me exactly where it was in New York. And so he supposedly comes down to Boston, and I say supposedly because I never met him, and I Googled his name even, and nothing came up. Like, not even his actual Facebook came up. And that was what kind of creeped me out, because, like, I've Googled a lot of people because I've had, a lot of weird people talk to me. And a lot of just, like, bad, like, people, because I make a lot of videos on Facebook and stuff. So a lot of creeps tend to come along, and his Facebook didn't even show up, like, at all. And I've had, these people that I've Googled, their Facebooks even show up. Like, it was just weird. There was nothing.
Is it a name that you can share, or is it like
Yeah, I feel honestly like I can share it because at this point it doesn't even matter. So his name was, and it kind of like, I thought about it tonight and I thought it kind of sounded like a fake name, and his name was Joe Danielson.
Danielson. Okay.
Yeah, right? That's what me and my friend Dan said. Like, we were like, Danielson, like, that sounds like made up. Like,
I Googled it. I mean, I got a guy here, but he's a politician.
No, yeah, that's not him. Like, this guy had tattoos and, like, he was, like, you know, one of those, like, just basically, like...
He looked like he should be in a band.
Yeah, you know, like, the people that look like they're, like, should be in a rock band or, like, a metal band.
Okay, so as far as he knew, you were in Boston, but he didn't know where, right? Like, he just knew the general area?
Well, I told him where I lived because he said that he was going to come get me. And I asked my mom if it was okay for me to give him the address, and she was like, yes, but I want to meet him, obviously. Like, you know,
okay.
She doesn't want her 20-year-old daughter meeting some guy that she doesn't know and just leaving, you know? Like, so, and I live on the South Shore of Boston, so I'm like 40 minutes or 45 or like, yeah, it's like, it's an hour in like traffic, but 45 minutes for me, because I drive pretty fast. So I even drove to where he said he was staying, which was the Boston Harbor Hotel. And I think that's actually getting a little ahead of the story. That happened kind of.
Okay, so
yeah. Let's back to that.
Let's jump to, okay, so you got this guy, like he says he's got this band, he's offering a contract, and so, you know, any musician who's trying to get into the game would be eager to hear more, right? So this,
yeah, like that's my dream, you know, he's basically shoving it in my face.
Right. So when did this take a turn to, like, how did we get to a guy that's going to come and show you a contract to there's something really not right about this?
Yeah, so he had told me that, you know, after I asked my mom if it was okay for me to give him the address, and she said yes, as long as I can meet him and all that stuff. And I gave him the address. He said he was on his way. Never showed up. Never showed up. And he kept telling me 5 minutes away. Never showed up. And never gave me a reason. Like, it was weird. Like, he would just stop texting. And then he would, like, text me the next day. And, like, I don't even, like, remember the excuses he had because they were so dumb. Like, I don't even, like, literally, I can't even remember them. It's like he would just make up these crazy excuses, like insane things that would not ever like happen, like every time, because like he did this multiple times.
Okay, so at some point you must have been like, okay, this guy's obviously a lunatic. You know, he's not coming.
Yeah.
But he got my address, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this happens. Obviously, you know that it's, even if he was on the up and up, he's not dependable. But something must have happened where, like, when did it become something freaky? Like, you know, like, shit, what is this guy? What is he up to?
Okay. Well, basically, after, you know, me and my friend Dan went to his hotel and, you know, was supposed to meet him, he conveniently wasn't there and was at lunch with a friend and told me that. And he had told me recently that, like, he didn't know anyone in Boston. He said he'd never been to Boston. and that I was going to be the first person, like, to meet him, like, there. And he said that he was at lunch with a friend, and I was like, okay, this sounds fucked up. No, this doesn't sound right. And then he, like, me and my friend, literally, we had to park in the hotel parking lot, or, it was like, yeah, it was basically the, like, parking garage of this hotel, and you had to pay, like, $30, like, for, like, an hour. And we were there for about 2 hours, maybe 2.5, and we were, like, walking around. It was, like, rainy, and we were like, screw this, like, we're leaving, like, I'm done. So we left, and then the next day, supposedly, his drummer had texted me from his phone and said that he was in the hospital and that he overdosed again. And I had never heard anything about this guy having any problem with, like, drugs. And he told me he was coming alone and that the band wasn't coming with him. Right. And I was like, what? Yeah.
So, like, at this point, it's obvious that, you know, there's all kinds of holes in the story, and his true intention is obviously not to come here and sign you. So, at some point, and I can't remember if this started on, did this start on the night of, the first video that you got me to watch, where the abnormal stuff, is that the first event where you supposedly had a run-in with him?
Yes, but I don't even, like, at this point, I don't believe he's an actual, like, human. And I know that may sound crazy, but it's, like, once the story gets told, it'll make sense.
Okay, so let's get to that part. The night that you're home, I think you told me it was like 4 a.m.
Yeah, it was around 4 a.m, and, like, thank God, because the sun was coming up. And usually I've heard, I'm not a demonologist or, like, a professional on this stuff, but I've looked up and read a lot of things on these on demons and just, you know, the occult and black magic and shit like that. And so I kind of, like, I heard that demons can't really, or don't usually come around in the daytime.
Okay.
And honestly, I think I just saw something in my backyard, but moving on, I'm just going to shut the door.
Well, hey, if there's a ghost in there, you get him in here on the microphone, because that'd be a hell of a show. Okay, so anyway.
No, you know, it really would. You know what? Come at me, bro. Okay, so I'm leaving the door, like kind of, like, to the point where I can, like, slam it shut if I have to. But yeah, yeah, man. If you got something to say it, because now's the time.
Okay, so we're at 4 a.m.
July 9th.
July 9th, and what happens?
Okay, so I'm sitting downstairs in my smoking room where I am right now, and it's, like, basically, like, a small little porch area, and there's, like, you saw in the video, there's, like, a porch door. You can go out to the porch, like the outside porch.
Yeah.
And there's, like, you know, like a little, like, benches with the, what are those things called? Like the fence? I don't even know. Like
a bench? is that?
No. Okay, so you know how, like, you have, like, when you go out to the porch, there's, like, a rail, like not a rail, like a metal rail, but, you know, something so you don't just jump off the friggin' porch or fall off.
No, that would be a rail. It would just be a wooden rail.
Yeah, so wood rail. You know, it's a wooden rail that goes around
The
porch.
deck or the porch. Okay.
Yeah. And outside of the door, there's to the left, there is a opening, and where there's like a step to get up or down the porch. And it's right, like literally a foot away from like the side of the house. And this is when I was freaking out because I had found out that, you know, he was here in Boston and that my friend had actually seen him. And at this point, I was just downstairs smoking cigarettes because I was just so paranoid that he was going to come. And what happened was I didn't see any car lights, nothing like that. I didn't see anything. And then all of a sudden, I looked out because I had the door open and I could see outside, and I saw what looked like a freaky fucking mask from the Purge or something, like, you know, really like a, okay, the best way to describe it is like shit, what are those things called? The masks you like make out of like what is it?
Porcelain?
Yes, thank you. Like those porcelain type of masks with like it just had a really fucked up face too. Like it was just weird, and it was like it was wearing like a black robe, and it looked like it didn't even have hands. Like everything, there was no skin showing, nothing. It was all just black and just a mask.
Okay.
And I freaked out when I saw this, slammed the door shut, ran up to my mom's room because I knew she had a pistol, but I don't know how to, like, I know how to work a gun because my friend showed me, but I've never shot one. I've never pointed one. I'm like terrified of guns because I'm the type of person that if anything bad can happen, it will happen to me, and I'll probably shoot myself. So, like by accident. And so yeah, I ran upstairs and I grabbed what I thought was a pistol, but it was a fake freaking airsoft gun, but it looked real, and I believed it was. So, as long as you believe, right?
That's right. As long as he believed.
So, yeah, and I ran back down the stairs, back onto the porch, opened the door, slammed the back door because I was like, I'm the type of person that's like, I need to protect my family. Like, not like I'm not wanting to worry about myself as much as I worry about like the people I love. And I'm like, is this guy gonna fucking like kill my family? And like, at this point, I don't know what the hell this even is. So, and I know that you can't shoot demons with freaking, you know.
But at this point, like, I guess you would still be under the impression that it's a guy in there with a mask on, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I wasn't thinking like, shit, this is a demon. I was thinking like, this is a freaking nuts guy. So, after I run up to the porch and I'm putting my back against the door, which is, you know, literally to the left of the door is, like I said, the steps to get down or up to the porch, and, you know, a foot to get around out of my house, which is a very open, well, not open, but like my neighbor's house is like literally probably like, I don't know, I'd say 20 feet away. And so the way it is, though, is like you can, like if you turn around, you'll be able to see someone running. Like, you can't, there's nowhere to hide, there's nowhere to just, there's no way.
I actually remember this part, so just to clarify, if anybody's having trouble with this, basically she comes out of her door, immediately to the left, like you could almost step off the bridge is how close the stairs are, and there's a really wide open kind of a field next to your house, right, that goes out to the road. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
So you run out there with the gun, and I think he was there initially Was it like...
Yeah, he was...
Okay.
He was, like, standing right in front of, like, me. Like, basically, but not... He was outside of the porch area. Like, he was standing out, like, in...
Like, he was on the...
behind.
He was on the grass, right?
Yeah.
And you're on your little porch, and basically, like, if he were to run left, he would disappear behind your view because it would go right on the side of the house that you're standing next to, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you run out, he's standing there.
Yeah, and I'm pointing the gun at him, and I'm shaking. I tried to, like, keep my composure, but, like, I'm shaking, but I'm pointing the gun at him, and nothing, no emotion, no sense of fear or anything. And I forgot to mention this in the email, but I had reviewed the video because I remember I was freaking out. Like, I was freaking out in this video because of everything that had happened. So he after he saw, you know, that I was pointing a gun at him, he like flashed a knife at me. That, like, and it kind of, like, it glistened, but I don't know how, because it wasn't like the moon was out. It wasn't that dark out, like it was in the morning. And here, it, like, the sun comes up around, like, well, at this time, it was like 4:30 by the time I had, like, this pistol and everything that had happened. So, or maybe 4:25. Damn. I think when I got, so, okay, it's 4:25. And by the time this ends. And I didn't see a hand. Like, it was just a big black friggin' robe, and I couldn't see a hand, just a knife. And he just, like, he did this creepy, like, wave with it, like, and it just, I was like, well, I got a gun, so I don't want to be, like, 20 and actually have killed somebody, but, like, I will kill someone if they're going to, like, attack me or my family, you know? And so he slowly, like, I yelled tried not to yell because, like, I didn't want to wake anybody up, but I basically said in a very aggressive voice, like, get the hell out of here. Like, I will shoot you. And there was no fear, nothing. He just slowly walked to the left around the porch, the entire porch, and to the steps of the,
panel or bridge or whatever.
Yeah, right next to me. And he stops, and I'm pointing the gun at him, and I'm like, okay. And I'm still standing against the door because I'm too scared that he would get in. And so he just looks at me. He, like, turns. And he doesn't even turn his head. Like, he turns his entire body very slowly. And no skin is showing. Nothing. And it's all just black. And a black robe and a fucked up mask. And he just turns to me and looks at me and says, he, like, looks at me up and down, and this is, like, where it gets really creepy, because he says in a really, like, there were two voices, and one sounded like, because I had talked to Joe on the phone before, and I know what his voice sounds like, and I've, like, video chatted with him before, too, and only, like, a few times or so, but I know his voice. And it was, like, his voice mixed in with, like, this, like, really creepy demonic voice. And he says, or it says, you look really good, but you need to tread carefully. And it was, like, I was, like, frozen. I, like, froze up. And he turned around, and as soon as he, like, walked, like, to the part, like, you know, where my house...
He basically got just out of you, like, by the side of your house.
And I immediately turn around to make sure that he's leaving, and he's gone, out of view. And this was literally, it took me about a second to turn around once he was out of view, and he was just gone.
So could you estimate for me if someone ran from your porch to get out of view in that direction, how long would it take a person on average?
Probably about out of view, it would take about 45 seconds, maybe a minute.
Yeah, because I got the impression that it was like a wide, there was a bit of land there.
Yeah.
So this guy literally just gets around the corner from your view, and you swing around, and he's gone.
Yep.
Okay. Gone.
And literally, it was when he was just out of view. And as soon as he was, I just turned around as fast as I could, and he was gone. Just gone.
So were you able to see his eyes through the mask?
They looked just like black, just black holes of nothing. It was literally the scariest thing I have ever seen in my entire life, and I've seen some pretty scary shit.
Did you get sometimes when people have these encounters, it could even if it was with a person, but you just get this really strong sense that there's something wrong, there's something bad. Yeah,
as soon as I really got out there and really got a look at him, especially when he spoke and was as close to me as he was, I knew it wasn't something that was it wasn't human. I knew it. I just felt it. It felt like a complete veil of just darkness and evil. Honestly, it is the best way to describe it, is just feeling like evil.
So I know after this initially happened, you had your, for the rest of the day and the night, just freaked out. How do you go to sleep? How do you get over?
I didn't.
Right, and and that's natural for something like this. But did anything, I guess, follow up? Did you have any experiences that seem related? Well, actually, I know some have, but let's go through that. So you have this experience, you throw your video up, you don't know what to make of it, and then some other things happen.
Yeah, things have been happening around my house. My house is haunted, but we don't give a shit. None of me, my brother, and my mom, we know, but we don't. We're not scared of it, and fear gives it power. And they don't really bother us, so they just do their own little thing, and we do ours. And but this is what has been happening is that I've been with friends, and lights have turned off for no reason, or we would hear laughing or talking when nobody was there, and it wasn't any voices we knew. It was a really creepy, almost like the voice that I heard when that thing spoke. And one time, me and my brother, we were walking inside of my house from the front together into my front door, and the light to turn on, the inside of the, the inside of the inside, I guess, that, it was right next to the door. And we were right in front of it, and Anthony is my brother, and he turns it on, and we were talking, and a few seconds later, it turns off, the switch, not even the bulb, the switch turned off. And my brother goes, he turns it back on, he goes, "Did you see that? Did that just happen?" And he was, freaking out, and I wasn't, because, I'm used to this. And I was like, "Yes, calm down, it's okay, I know it happened, I saw it." but don't freak out. Like, and he was like, okay, like, all right. So, and it happened, like, some weird stuff happened with me and my mom, just stuff being moved around and, like taken and, like, hidden in weird places, and it was, like, just really weird. And, like, things like my mom's, like, medicine that she needed, like, because she's sick and has cancer and just a bunch of other problems because she's all fucked up. But the meds she needs were, like, taken and put in, like, weird places. And she was like, she asked me if I did it, and I was like, no. Like, what? Like, why would I do that? Like, but, she, like, after I, like, she realized what was going on after that.
So, the stuff that you're describing now, is this the normal hauntings that you find in your house, or is it, like, amplified now after having this encounter?
It's amplified.
Okay, so was there anything that happened that was distinctively new after this experience?
Well, for one, like, just the whole fact that, like, we would hear footsteps and, like, voices that weren't there, like, of people that weren't there, and this isn't something that we would, like, experience with the things in our house. Like, they don't really do that. They're just kind of chilling. And, like, just to really describe it, they really just kind of don't fuck with us or do anything like that. They don't care to, really, because, I don't know. I don't really know why, but they just don't. And this one time, or no, actually a couple times, and it's still actually going on, but it's gotten a little bit better. I actually was, like, becoming, I have a problem with insomnia. I've been dealing with it, like, for a long time, so many years, but, like, I can sleep when I'm, like, you know, like, emotionally okay, or, like, not scared of something, like, happening like this. Or no, I can't sleep when something's happening like this. But, yeah, so my insomnia kicked in. But when I finally, like, fell asleep, because, you know, your body eventually just knocks itself out, I had nightmares of, like, being in the complete, like, darkness. And there's nothing around me, just darkness. And I couldn't, like, I was on the ground and I couldn't get up. Like, I couldn't move my legs or anything. I could only, like, move my arms or, like, the top of my, like, body. And I was trying to, like, I knew something was coming after me and trying to get me. And, like, I don't know why. But, like, I've always had my dreams where I see myself in third person. It's never first person or second person. It's always third person. I don't know why. But, I was just, like, using my elbows to try to, like, get away, and, like, this thing just comes out of nowhere and grabbed my leg and, like, so hard and scratched it, and, like, I saw the face of it, and it was the mask. It was the mask of what I saw.
So, in your dream, you dreamt that this thing that grabbed you was the thing that you saw on your porch?
Yes.
Okay.
And then as soon as it, like, grabbed my leg and clawed it, I felt it in my nightmare. Like, I felt it. It hurt like a bitch. And then I woke up. I, like, woke up, swung up out of my bed, and, like, I was sweating, I was breathing heavily, and I tried to go back to sleep, and then I slept normally, I slept fine, and then the next morning, I have a huge scratch mark with a huge bruise. And then, not too much later, like a couple nights later, I had a nightmare that, you know what, actually, I think it was about maybe a week or two after the fact. It was like a week and a half or something. or probably 2. No, yeah, it was 2 weeks after this. So 2 weeks later, I have another nightmare, and this thing like grabbed my face, and it was like a different demon. Like it looked like a demon, but it wasn't.
It wasn't that guy on your porch.
Yeah, but there were like 2 other ones like next to my bed, and they like one of them looked like the one that was on my porch, and then the other one just looked. I couldn't really even describe how he looked. It was like it was just really weird looking, and it kind of blurry. Like it didn't really want to be seen. And but the one that it like this like demon thing was on top of me, and it grabbed my face, and it like clawed me, and I just like I blacked out like after that, and it was just like me sleeping again. And I woke up the next day, and my face was all fucked up. Like I had claw marks on my face, and I sent pictures to my friends, and everybody said it looked like something tried to claw you, like, or like something like a claw like grabbed your face or something like that. And I was like, I know, right?
I just thought of this now because you sent me those pictures too.
Yes.
Would I be able to plant them into the podcast for people listening to this so they could just...
Yes.
Cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, awesome. So you wake up, you have these marks on your face, and that wasn't very long ago. That was like...
it's still on my face.
It's still on your face. Okay. So since then, has anything happened?
Yeah. There's just been really, like, just things trying to attack me, basically. But, like, it's calmed down, like, today and, like, yesterday, but that's the only time.
Do you attribute those attacks to the situation on your porch?
Yes.
Well, I think the what's really important actually is to try and figure out how this came to be. I mean, before you're talking to this guy, right? I mean, let's just talk about you for a second. So you got this, you have this little fan base on Facebook, like you do. Was it like modeling or?
Yeah, I used to site model when I was from 14 to now, but I don't really site model at the moment. It's so basically 14 to like 18, I'd say. So that's, like 4 years of site modeling, and that's how a lot of people knew me at first. And then I started doing videos and got a pretty good, pretty high fan base, and
so
yeah.
Right, so like you got this fan base, and like anything that's public, you meet your share of really strange people, right?
Yeah.
Right, and so like that's okay, but how did what do we know about this guy? So you were in a band, and like he just suddenly messages you sometime, whether he found you through your modeling fan base or he saw you play, and he's got this offer, or he talks about this offer. But I mean, what do you know about him? Like you said that you talked, like you sat down and had like a couple video conversations with him. Like, was there anything off about him? Like, did he say he was into the occult, or he was into, right? Like, what do you know about him?
Nothing. He never said anything about that. Nothing about anything paranormal. Just talking about basically like giving me a lot of attention and a lot of compliments. Like literally saying because I would send him some voice memos of songs I had covered and did, and he was like, oh, I showed my band, and they thought that your voice was so good, and I literally cried when I heard it, and I was like, I don't know about that, but thanks. And like, he just basically gave me a lot of compliments. Like, it was all about that. And he was like, we're gonna go on like stage and I'm gonna introduce you as the new singer of the band on like Warped Tour. And I was like, really? Like, this is happening? Like, and me, I try to be optimistic. Like, I am trying, like, I try to be optimistic because a lot of bad stuff happens to me. I'm not a lucky person. But, yeah, so I try to be optimistic and believe things that I probably shouldn't. So I learned from this to not be so trusting. But yeah, so essentially he was just like praising me.
So like, I guess just trying to tie this guy into the experience that you had. The main thing that we have to go on is that right around that time you have these constant occasions that you're supposed to meet up. He knows where you live. He supposedly came to Boston for this. And the other detail, I guess, is that when he spoke, you could hear his voice and somebody else's, but you could hear his voice as well.
Yeah.
So this is how you came to the conclusion that this guy is related to this thing that's happening.
Yeah, and I have no idea. Like that. Like, I don't think that, like, even like black magic and all that stuff, even if you're like really mastered in it, I don't think you can make that happen. Like, I feel like you literally need to be that demon in order to make that happen. Like, I don't know.
Well, some people make deals with the devil, and sometimes it comes in strange ways.
I think it has actually been exactly what it could have been too.
Right? Like just putting it out there.
I forgot to tell you that, and this is kind of related to like the deal with the devil, because he had randomly told me a horrible story, and I looked it up. There was nothing on it, but he told me this story that his son was killed by his like ex or his girlfriend at the time, and like that he was like 4 years old, and said that she smothered him because he was like too loud crying. And I'm thinking, what? Like, what?
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. So
yeah.
So he let's I'm just trying to get a profile on this guy. Trying to understand like what he's about and how he could be connected to this thing. And really, I'm just speculating because I really don't know, but I do know that.
I don't know.
Right? Like, I know that like if you're somebody who's trying to get in any kind of media or like where there's some kind of spotlight or money or fame involved, there's so many stories of people that get the shortcut by some kind of a deal, right?
Oh, yeah, I know a lot about that.
Right? So, like, I'm trying to see if, like, this guy could maybe fit the bill there, but at the same time, like, I have to ask you, is there anything that you're involved in or have become involved in recently, surrounding this time that would maybe make you a target?
Vulnerable?
Well, it could be vulnerable, but it could be like, for example, if you start to dabble into black magic,
yeah. No, I used to dabble in like a lot of messed up shit back when I was like 17 and like 18, because I was going like I was really, really messed up back then. But then I like became like, I had like an epiphany and basically kind of like had this, like, came to this conclusion that like I need to like bring in the light, basically, because I don't want to live like this. Like, it's like I literally lived in darkness, and I was not a good person at all. Like, it made me like into a horrible person. And so I had completely stopped all of it, and I started like praying and just basically opening myself up to, my higher power. And
so was there anything that you did around this time that was different, like that could have somehow contributed to this, or do you think it's just a random, you just happen to be in a place where this guy, it's just wrong, bad place, bad time kind of thing?
Yeah, honestly, I think that I don't know. I have no idea what to make of this, but my friend is, one of my friends is, he doesn't like his name being put out there, so, we'll just, call him John, because
it's the most generic name in the world, right? No,
I don't know.
Go on.
So, his name's John, right? So, John is he's very into the psychic stuff. He's very psychic himself. Like, he can talk to spirits, basically whenever he wants. And, he's very, very strong in that sense. And he's told me that this is definitely the Joe guy, and that he doesn't exactly know what his, he knows that his angle basically is to, I don't know, get me. I don't really know what he, even means by that, and neither does John. I almost said Joe. John. He doesn't know what to make of that, because that's all he could get out of it, out of this thing that he called on, which was basically, and he described it before I even told him what this thing looked like, and he described it exactly as I saw it. Okay. And I was freaked out, because I was like, oh my god, damn. But I'm kind of lucky at the same time to have somebody that can do that. And so he told me basically, yes, this is this guy Joe. We don't exactly know if he's part of he knows that there's some occult type thing going on, or at least that's what he thinks. But also, we just don't know what to make of it. Maybe we started thinking that maybe he's not even real.
Well, it could be Joe wanting to make a deal himself, which requires a sacrifice.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, my mentioned that.
Yeah, well, that's a part of this. Ryan, now you're usually very knowledgeable, especially on this kind of thing. If you had to speculate as to a reason why Kairi would have this happen to her, what would you say?
Well, definitely seems like you've been targeted, right? You spent a certain amount of time getting to know you, talking to you, messaging back and forth with you, managed to tell you what you wanted to hear, was able to coax your home address out of you, and then played a bit of a cat and mouse game with you. I'm 5 minutes away, maybe tomorrow. Silence, then almost there, and then out of the blue shows up like an extra from a Scream movie in a black robe and a white mask, apparently brandishing a knife. Now, you could very well have saved your life with that airsoft gun, because if this guy was serious, and indeed there is a chance that here's somebody who was very serious about performing some kind of a ritual that may have included human sacrifice, then I think that it's kind of clear after hearing everything that he may indeed have intended you some harm. obviously he was there for some reason, and the fact that you recognized his voice, even though there seemed to be something else in there with him, kind of makes it pretty clear to me that I strongly doubt that the name he gave you is his real name. So whoever this person is may have been very serious about performing some kind of ritual requiring, at the very least, some of your vital essence being blood, if not a full-on sacrifice.
Blood is something that my friend said, John said, was something that gave it power. And also, I forgot to mention that after this happened, my dumbass tried to brush it off by using a ghost app. And basically, what this ghost app is, I totally forgot what it picks up. But I sent a screenshot of what it picks up to Will. So, Will, if you remember that, I can't even remember.
I probably have it. Just let me see if I can quickly pick it up on my phone here. I remember I looked it up and thinking, right, I mean, honestly, if I'm being honest with ghost apps and stuff like that, I don't...
It's pretty fake.
Yeah, if I were to sit down and try to code, how would a phone know, what essence is made of a ghost? I don't even think scientists know. But I guess that being said, that's the what do you call it? The not the realist, the what the fuck word am I looking for? When someone skeptic. That's my skeptic view. But at the same time, if it's not uncommon for ghosts or spirits or anything to communicate using anything. All anything is an object to communicate through. It's not like tarot cards are magic. Tarot cards is just the medium of which you used to communicate. And for some people, that is entirely in their head. It's just what they read the cards and looking at it and seeing what those cards represent. They use their sixth sense and put that together, but at the same time, there's all kinds of different divination. People divinate using water. They divinate with divining rods. They divinate with...
I also use water, and I use tarot cards, and I've been doing that for a long time.
Right, and I don't think it even matters what, if anything, you use. You could meditate and not use anything. The end result is just... it's the way that you tune into it. It's just a tool. So
exactly.
So if there was something no, I don't think that you could code an app that is consistent and is going to work that way. But if suppose a spirit wanted to communicate with you, it could do it with an app. It could do it through a text message. It could do it in an email. It doesn't really matter. It would just find a way to communicate. Right. So, what was it that you got? What was the answer that you got in that text message? I vaguely remember, but...
Oh, it was the app that I was using. And it doesn't usually say anything really that, relates to anything. And, because I've used it a lot. But the first thing that it said, almost as soon as I opened it, wasn't Joe. And I immediately turned off the app, through my iPhone, because that's what I use for these apps and stuff, because it's just on an iPhone with Wi-Fi. So yeah, I threw that across the room, left the room, and I ran up to my room, and I was Skyping my friend at the time because I was terrified, and then I told him what happened, and he was on Skype when this thing said wasn't Joe. But he didn't hear it. I told him it. I told him that's what it said. I asked him if he heard it. He was like, no. And it was just, I was like, no. What?
So So this thing that you're having happen, because I know that like the dream thing with the with your face getting beat up, that was really recent. That was like within I think the last week. So I know you said it's dying down, but it could very well be something that is still kind of floating around. So when we talked about this, and you were looking, you were hoping that someone would have some answers. So what I'm going to say to anyone watching this, because I know that we've had some pastors and priests, I guess, who are fans of the show and who have offered to, help anybody who's, dealing with anything that could be dark or demonic or whatever. So if any of you guys are listening and you think that you might be able to help Kairi out, you can certainly send me an email, will@fedupstories.com, and I can put you in contact with Kairi, if that's okay with you, Kairi.
Of course. I would love that.
Okay, because that's the best I can do. Is I don't know how to chase a demon away. If it happened to me, I'd be in my own podcast saying, "Please, somebody, please," right? So hopefully, hopefully you'll get somebody will send me an email and I can put you in contact with them and they can help you out. And even better still, hopefully nothing else really happens. But it's kind of weird how it came up. So the moral of the story anyway, regardless of what happens from here on out, is never trust anyone, right? Almost
at least of all people on the internet.
Yeah, at least of all people on the internet.
Because my dumbass did it, and this is what I get for it.
Right, because the thing with the internet is it's anonymous, right? And while a lot of people probably are themselves on the internet, there's a lot of people looking for naive, just naive people that they can take advantage of, right? And so
I must admit, I was very naive, very.
Right, and see that's just, it's something you learn. I think we've all had our experiences, and especially if you do anything that's public.
It's easy to get caught up though when somebody's offering something that you really want it.
Yeah.
Like that's literally my dream. Like I have always wanted to tour and be a singer since I can remember. And when they offer you that and they're saying all this stuff about how and it seemed like he knew all about it, but it was just weird to me that there was nothing on YouTube with them, and they're so supposedly if you're playing Warped Tour, you have a band, it's supposed to be out there. There was no pages on Facebook, there was nothing on YouTube, nothing on Google, and it was just, that was weird, but me still trying to be optimistic.
It really sounds like this guy, he had a really good idea of who you were and what you wanted to hear, and just, he went fishing. He went fishing. Right, and who knows what he really wanted. I mean, we can only assume that it was sinister. But hopefully you did scare him off with that airsoft gun. Although I would make a point to know where the real one is for next time. So yeah.
I think my mom's hiding it because she thinks that she just doesn't want one of us shooting something. Because she knows me and my brother are the type of people that are dumb enough to accidentally shoot ourselves. So.
Well, get to the shooting range, figure it out.
Yeah, actually told me he would take me because I told him I wanted to learn how to do it.
I would definitely, if it were me and I had that experience, I would definitely make a point of not just having a gun, but being very comfortable with it. Yeah, I definitely would. So hopefully this is all kind of behind you. I kind of wish that I could find, I guess, the origin of where and why this thing happened, but because it does, if it does have an occult angle to it, it would make me think that, usually this happens because of something you were doing or something you were into, right? To attract it to you. But we can't really find that in your case, so it's kind of strange.
Yeah, at the time I was just doing music stuff and nothing to do with anything like the occult. I haven't even used my tarot cards in a long time. Like, I meditate a lot, but, like, since I've had a lot of this stuff going on, it's just been so hard to, like, clear my mind, and not to mention I have really bad ADD. It's bad.
Yeah, so, like, the only thing I can think of, and I've heard, several stories with this, but people who are trying to get into it seems especially true for the music industry, they have these little, sometimes it's just a matter of a dream where they get an offer. Sometimes it's it seems like real life, but there's something to it that's a little off. It's just really, really out of the blue. It's like, well, I can get that for you. All you have to do, right? There's always something that is not as obvious as saying that the devil showed up and he had a contract. It could be someone that looks like a normal person. They seem, they talk like normal people. And then all of a sudden, you'll get this question that's really, it's just out of nowhere. It's kind of strange. Like, well, I can do that for you. You just have, you know what I mean? Like, that's how people usually get a sense that, hey, something is not right here. And usually it drives people away, right? Usually it's strong enough that they can pick up on it and they can go, they can get away from it. But maybe that's what it is. Maybe, your will to want to do this dream is so big that it was like, bang, this is how we'll do it. But then again, they never showed up with a contract. They showed up with a knife. So maybe it's someone else trying to get their dream, right?
Yeah.
But that being said, I think we've gotten through the whole story there, at least in terms of this encounter.
Yep.
And if anybody has any answers, be sure to chime in the comment section. And with that said, Kari, I'd like to thank you for coming on to the show. And
thank you.
Our pleasure. And I'm sure I still have the pictures you sent me somewhere. I think in my Facebook Messenger. So. We message a lot. So it's cool for me to take those and throw them into the podcast.
Absolutely.
Cool. So
like any ones you could find, even the ones like I remember I sent you the ones of the bruises on my leg.
Yeah, right. So what I'll do is I'm going to throw those into the background of this podcast so everybody else can see it and just know, get a sense of what's actually going on. And, anybody that can help, got some advice, especially if you're someone who's familiar with dealing with this kind of stuff, that I can maybe put you in contact with Kairi. Just shoot me an email at will@ffedupstories.com, and, I'll get you guys connected so that maybe you can get yourself out of this. And for everybody else, if you have an effed up story, be sure to send that to us. You can do that at the official site, effedupstories.com. That's EFFEDUPSTORIES.com. And be sure to tune in next week for the big reveal and the ever long delayed episode on the reptilians. With that said, thank you for listening, everybody. I will catch you next time.
Thanks to everyone who took time to sit and listen with us tonight, and thank you very much, Kari, for sharing your story with us.